Well, hey, you guys, welcome back to Tomes of Terror, doing another book review today. So, a couple weeks ago, I guess it was, I got an email from an author named Seann Barbour who was offering me an ARC, Advanced Reader's Copy, of his upcoming horror novella, which is called The Last Day. And that book is going to be coming out October 23rd, 2023. So, of course, like I said, I'm all about the free books, so I accepted. And because it was shorter than the book that I was already reading that I was going to review this week, I decided to push it up in the review schedule because it would be quicker for me to read it, obviously. So I went to his Amazon author page. Apparently, he's a Virginia-based writer, although he's originally from Florida, which is also my home state. So I looked through all of his stuff, and it looks like he writes a lot of horror and fantasy, and a lot of them are kind of in several volume series. Some of them kind of look like graphic novels too, but I'm not really sure about that. This one, though, The Last Day, seems to be a standalone story, I think. And I have to say that I actually really dug it quite a bit. If you want kind of like a ballpark idea of what it's about, it's kind of like not necessarily a zombie scenario, but kind of like a viral apocalypse scenario, kind of like 28 Days Later or The Crazies or something like that. That's kind of crossbred with the movie Groundhog Day, with a little bit of like interdimensional weirdness thrown in there as well. And that's kind of like I said, in the general area of what the book is like. So at the beginning of the story, we meet a man named Ron, who is like a personal injury lawyer, of the type that people usually disparagingly call ambulance chasers. Like, he's one of those. He actually, prior to the events of the book, like the night before, he had attended his high school reunion. I guess it was his 10-year high school reunion. And it so happened that he ended up hooking up with an old crush of his named Cecilia, like in the hotel room where he was staying at. Now, Cecilia is married now, but, that apparently didn't stop her from sampling a little bit of Ron when the opportunity arose, so there you go. Now, in the cold light of morning, however, Cecilia tells Ron in no uncertain terms that she always wanted to have sex with him, like back in the day, and is glad that she finally got to. She's not saying that. But this is just a one-time situation. She loves her husband, whose name is Tony, and is absolutely going back to him. So Ron is like, I guess he's not really surprised by this. He's a little bit hurt by it, I guess, as you would. And he's also kind of bummed out because at the reunion the night before, he kind of had the perception that his other classmates like turned out more successful than him. And in particular, there was one named Jason who was like this big time city lawyer and kind of like looked down on him a little bit just for being, like I said, like an ambulance chaser. So he's like a little bit bummed out about that too. But he does understand like the whole deal with Cecilia. He wasn't like hoping for a relationship or anything like that, so he's just like, okay, I understand, and she ends up leaving the hotel room. Now, shortly afterward, he leaves the hotel, like he checks out, and he stops at a coffee place on the way out of town because he's going back, because like I said, he had to go back to his hometown for the reunion or whatever. So when he stops at this coffee place, though, all fucking hell breaks loose, right? A dude straight up drives his car like through the windows of the coffee shop, and then he, which wounds several people, and then the driver like gets out of the car and he's just giggling like a maniac and has some really weird looking like yellow eyes. And then this crazy person proceeds to beat the main character, Ron, to death. And no, I did not misspeak, and that's not a spoiler either, because this all happens like literally in the first like 5 pages of the story, and it's also revealed in the book synopsis, because I went to the Amazon page because they have like a pre-order thing on there, and it's in the synopsis, so I'm not ruining anything for you, I promise. So basically, after this startling development of the main character getting beaten to death in the first couple of pages, Ron wakes up back in the hotel room with Cecilia. And it seems as though the same day is beginning to repeat itself. Now, at first, Ron just thinks he had like a terrible nightmare the night before, as you would. But similar shit keeps on happening. Like, no matter how hard he tries to alter events, like to do something different, whenever, like wherever he goes on that day, he is eventually attacked by different giggling nutcases with like the same yellow eyes. And as the story goes on, it starts to become pretty clear that some kind of worldwide epidemic of like homicidal madness, I guess, is starting to overtake the world's population, it seems. And not only that, but Ron appears to be the only person who's kind of like trapped in this purgatory where he keeps reliving the same day over and over again, but he can't figure out why. You know what I mean? So he knows what's going to happen. He knows that this plague is coming and shit like that, and so he tries to do different things, or see, it's, oh, maybe this was a dream and maybe it's not really going to happen, but then it just keeps happening, but like in different ways. But he can't really figure out like why he seems to be the only one that's experiencing this. So the bulk of the story then is Ron kind of slowly coming to the realization of what exactly might be happening, like to him and to the world at large, and trying to figure out a way to stop it, if he can stop it, or at least kind of free himself from the time loop. Now, like a lot of stories with this kind of thing, like this kind of trope, there is a tendency toward repetition. That's just kind of an occupational hazard when you're writing about this kind of thing, because Ron does keep getting killed in various ways and then waking up back in the hotel room again, like that same morning, and having like similar exchanges with Cecilia and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, I'm gonna say that I think it was really well handled here. I think there's plenty of variation in the scenarios, like as they unfold, that the recurring events didn't really wear out their welcome, because other than him like waking up and being like, oh shit, here I am again, and talking to Cecilia for a couple of minutes, like usually he tries to do something different like every day, and it always ends up having a different outcome. So it wasn't like super repetitive in that regard. So like I said, I think it was really well handled. And as soon as Ron kind of clues in to what's happening, and like I said, starts making alterations on the routine. Oh, today I'm going to try to get in my mom's house and try and save her. Today I'm going to, be a little bit later to the coffee shop and see if different, you know what I mean? So he tries to like do different things. So it's not like the exact same incidents playing out over and over again. Like the results are drastically different every time. Like they always begin the same way and they always kind of end with him dying, but it's always like a different person that attacks him. So it's always like, so he keeps it like mixed up, you know what I'm saying? So as I mentioned, I really enjoyed this book quite a bit. Ron was kind of like a sort of a hangdog, like everyman type of protagonist. But as the story began to unfold and he started to figure out what was going on, he really kind of had to like tap into his like intelligence a little bit and his fortitude to try to finagle his way out of this predicament that he found himself in for whatever reason. And I will admit, I'm not going to spoil it, but I didn't really guess what the ultimate cause of the outbreak was going to be, because it's a little bit unusual. It's not like something that you would normally see like in a like in a zombie movie or something, or even like a virus type movie. It's kind of not like that. So I like that he went like a different direction with it. Now the thing that sort of caused it isn't really explained to any great degree. Like it is kind of, but it's not, it's not really gone into. But honestly, I think that was for the best. I think that you as the reader find out as much about the situation as Ron did, and that's it. Like, you don't find out any more than that. And I think, and I'm sure I've mentioned this like on many occasions before, I always think it's better to like under-explain than over-explain. And so I think this was really well done, because it puts you in Ron's shoes, and it's like, if this happened to you, then obviously, you're only learning as much as he learns, and no more than that. There's not like a lot of exposition, and I thought that was really good, even though you're just kind of like, what the fuck, like why like why is this happening and stuff. But I think it's better to kind of just leave it ambiguous. I like that better, So yeah, if you like apocalypse style like horror fiction and kind of want to read something that has maybe like a little bit more of a metaphysical or mindfuck kind of angle to it, then this would probably be right up your alley. I'm going to say, I think that if you liked movies like Triangle, for example, like the one about the cruise ship that was kind of like a time loop, like, it didn't remind me of that, but sort of, you know what I mean? It's kind of in the same ballpark, like I said. I found this quite well written. And it's very fast-paced, and it has some good gore scenes sprinkled, like some pretty fucked up shit happens in it too, so I thought that was pretty awesome. So like I said, this isn't out yet as of this recording. It'll be out on October 23rd. You can actually go to Amazon and pre-order it if you want to do that. And I actually would recommend it, like I said, if you like that kind of apocalypse-style horror, because this was actually like a really good one. And it's not super, super long. I think it's about 175 pages, something like that. So you know, you can get through it. But I think it would be like a really good read for Halloween, and it'll be out like a week before Halloween, so you should definitely go and check it out. And I would really like to thank Seann Barbour for sending me the ARC of it. That was really cool. So that will do it for this Tomes of Terror. Hope to see you guys again on the next one. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and all of that, and I'll see you again on the next one. Bye.